What up, Buckeye Nation? Welcome to the Scoop. Excited to be here again tonight. Got a big show planned for you guys. Gonna run down some UCLA, Ohio State stuff, comparing the teams, talk about the Buckeyes, possibly making a few changes in their game plan and how they handle this UCLA game. Big nighttime game. Got a bunch of recruits showing up. Buckeyes on a heater. We'll touch on that a little bit as well, touch on one national thing going on. But before we do that, chat, you guys know what to do already. Hit that like button for us. Hit the subscribe button as well. We're trying to get the 37K on Buckeye Scoop, so help us do that. I think we're like 100 people away, which is like can be done in one day on this channel, so help us out there. Super chats as well, and head on over to the Apple podcast and hit a like for us over there as well. But I need a little bit of help tonight. So without further ado, you guys will never guess who's coming on the night. You probably will. Nevada, what's up, brother?
Hey, how you doing, Devin? What's going on, buddy? It's a Thursday night, and that's Devin and Nevada night. So I'm very excited about that. So let's
Yeah.
get on. So much happening in Ohio State land. It's crazy. There's never a dull moment. That's for sure.
Yeah. Before we get into the high state stuff, I want to tell you something. The first thing I want to tell you, Nevada, is that I'm leaving tomorrow morning to go on a golfing trip to Tampa. So I
Oh,
wanted to let
very
you
nice.
know in on that.
Very
And I
nice.
wanted to also let you know that I broke my record on Monday for farthest drive. It was on a par five, a 500, and I think it was 500 and like 2 yard par five. I hit a 375-yard drive and I had 101 yards in on a par five. So I just wanted to let you know that. I know you're really intrigued with me driving the golf ball, and just let you know it's not a big deal or anything, but
You
I
got you
did
got to.
drive it 375 yards.
Well, I think for you to make it a little bit more challenging, you got to stop playing the women's tees and start playing the men's tees with her.
Yeah, I do. I play the men's red tees. I've always been told.
You're very secure with your manliness. I appreciate that.
So that's what I do. So I wanted to start off with that. So that's the good news we got going on here. Some other news in college football, Nevada. Hit on this real fast. I don't know if you noticed or not. Michigan State got in a little bit of trouble here recently. They got wins vacated for recruiting violations. And when you just compare that, right, it just goes to show you how disgusting the other team is and the punishments that came down. Not going to hit on it much tonight. Just want to put in perspective, and the fact that you got scum fans now talking about, oh, now we see who the real cheaters are. Not going to get into it a lot, Nevada, but I just wanted to get your quick take
No,
on the fact that
well, no, Devin. I'm gonna one up you on that. I'm gonna one up you on that.
okay,
The game where Connor Stallions was on the sideline in disguise for Central Michigan, Michigan State had to forfeit to Central Michigan. Yeah, I mean, you
I,
cannot make this stuff up. You just cannot make this stuff up. I mean,
yeah,
holy guacamole, that happened. They had to vacate that win where he was on the sideline as a full-time employee of Michigan cheating for the other team, and they had to vacate the game. I just simply have no words. I don't even know what to tell you.
yeah. There, yeah, there really isn't much that can be said. I'm in the middle of a conversation with Spiro. Might do a show with him to talk about it. I'd love to get him fired up talking about it. But yeah, just wanted to hit on that real fast, show you how wonky and crazy college football is getting. But the Buckeyes, man, we seem to be very focused right now on what we got going up against UCLA, 7:30 primetime game. There goes the phone. Let me shut that down. Got some big time recruiting visitors coming in, some 2026 targets. CJ Borno, the Florida commit corner, Dre Quinn, and then Braxton Rembrandt are coming in. A lot of talk about CJ being a Buckeye. I put it my pick for that a while ago, and people today there was a pick put in for Dre Quinn to become a Buckeye as well, and also Braxton Rembrandt. So those are three 2026 recruits coming on. That there's a pick somewhere for them to be Buckeyes. In the 2027 class, we got two booms, man. Got two players committing in that class. Funky put in a couple picks today for who those are. Head over to the Scoop message board if you want to find out who those are. Vada, any quick takes on the recruiting momentum that the Buckeyes got right now? And we'll dive into our opponent.
Well, three more flips on 2026 kids. I mean, like, how many flips will that make for the like 15 or eight? I mean, some crazy number of flips. And if you guys remember, if you guys have been listening to the show, we told you it was going to be Flip-a-Palooza, that we were going to start flipping kids, and that Ohio State wasn't done for 2026 and was really going to be going after it, a la Alabama for so many years. And here we go, three more big time kids, and I'm going to call it right now. All three of those kids are going to flip. If those kids come in this week, they're going to flip. So we can watch, we can see, just check to see if they just arrive. If they arrive, they're all three a done deal to Ohio State. Takes Ohio's class up to 5 or 4 or so. I don't even know what exact. I don't even care about it. It's going to be a great class, as we told you. It was going to be a great class. Recruiting issues, guys. Don't we've moved on from worrying about defensive line recruiting to worrying about the defensive coordinator recruiting to worry about our 2026 recruiting. And now, I guess now we're on to the point where we're worried about the offensive line. Is that the point where we're on as the fan? I'm trying to figure out what the latest outrage is for the fan base. I believe it's the offensive line, and Integra Teshabola seems to be the latest whipping boy. That seems to be the latest thing in fashion. And I'll bury the lead. We'll tell you, don't worry about that either. Everything's going to be okay. But we can discuss that as well if you'd like.
Yeah, we'll dive into that. Like you said, the recruiting stuff. We sign all those guys that'll take us up to the number 4 class in the nation. Just signing CJ would take us to the number 5 class. So that's that. And then, yeah, you bring up the offensive line. I have been vocal about my concerns with Tegra, but here recently there's been a lot more talk about the offensive line. Didn't get put on the Joe Moore list. And then, to be honest with you, Nevada, there wasn't a lot until, and some other shows around the country are currently bashing. Now, Ohio State shows bashing this offensive line. And I know they have some work to do. Ryan Day brought up some potential changes in this UCLA game. Could look like the right guard position swapping in and out. Not real changes. Been doing it. Ian Moore was on the field, looked really good. Is he going to get in the rotation somehow? I don't know. But yeah, Nevada, there are some shows right now and different people. I'm talking about bashing the offensive line in a way that makes it sound like they're absolutely atrocious. They're horrible. It's over with. And I'm nowhere near that at all. I think this offensive line is not doing bad. If you count the 50-some yard run Bo Jackson had the first play of the game, that's over 200 yards of rushing. We rushed for 170 yards, and if you take away the sacks in that game, we rushed for over 190 yards rushing. So I don't know, man. This is the pattern. Preseason, we do freak out, and then a little past midway, we start freaking out and talking about what's going to stop us from winning the national title. You think we would learn at this point in time, because we won the national title last year, going 10 deep on the offensive line. This is Ohio State, Nevada. Give us your take on the offensive line.
Well, it's funny. What I try to do on this stuff, honestly, is talk to people smarter than me and listen to what they have to say. Because if they're freaking out, then I'll freak out. But if they're not freaking out, then I refuse to kind of jump into it. So one of the best sources that we have on anything offensive line was Helping Technician, and he's talking to him. He's like, look, let me tell you about the Joe Moore Award. The Joe Moore Award is generally it's kind of a joke anyway. We've seen some of the lists that have been on there, but the Joe Moore Award goes to basically the team that rushes the ball the best. And rushing the football depends on a lot of things. You're rushing the ball depends on what your scheme is, who your backs are, is your quarterback activated into the rushing game. There's lots of things that go on. That's why Navy can lead the country in rushing every year, and they haven't had a guy drafted in the NFL since Napoleon McCallum back in like '89 or something like that. And before that, it was Roger Staubach. So like they can do it because they have a scheme, they have deception, and it doesn't matter if the guys are 230 pounds up front; they can execute a running game. So for Ohio State, if you look at our rushing game right now, let me separate. You've got rushing game, and then you've got passing game. I'd say in passing game, our pass protection is elite, like super elite. Like we give Julian saying, and that's what we generally are is a passing team. Rushing the ball, Julian's not a rushing threat, so we've already kind of taken that off the thing. Our running backs, we don't let's put it this way, we don't have Trey and Quinchon this year. You know what I'm saying? um we've taken a step down in terms of our running backs. Certainly they can get better, certainly they're young and they can be improved, but we don't have elite running backs there in terms of doing it. So when you don't have a quarterback who's a rushing threat, you don't have elite running backs, then and then you play the game where we've talked ad nauseum about the 13 personnel and the 14 personnel and the stuff that we run in short yardage right now. It's just not stuff that's designated to make the offensive line look good. And the first time that we ran the quarterback last year around the goal, or last week around the goal line, because CJ Donaldson met the free hitter in the line, Lincoln Keno's was able to walk in the end zone, you know, unmarked. So I just think a lot of it is predicated upon our scheme. I've always believed that scheme and predictability will defeat offensive line no matter who you have. And I think our offensive line, look, it's the same five guys that we won the national championship with last year. So, like, you have five guys that were all starters on the national championship. Like, we can win with these guys. It's just fine. Every offensive line makes mistakes. Every offensive line screws things. If you go down any team in the country right now and talk to their fans, they'll say that their offensive line it screws up. There's no perfect offensive line. And I think Ohio State's being held to this standard of perfection that, now do I think Tigre can, clean some stuff up, or can Carson get better, or can Luke Montgomery be better, or can Austin play with more, consistent? Yeah, I think all those things are true, but that doesn't make it a bad line. So just so I'm crystal clear, I'm bullish about this offensive line. I'm excited about what they can do. And I'm excited about some of the backups. I'm excited about Ian Moore. I think Ian Moore is going to be a stud. And I'm excited about Josh Padilla. I'm excited about the depth we have, and I think we have lots of options. Last year, we went to a platoon system in the playoffs with Luke and Integra, and I thought that was crazy train, and it worked out to the tune of a national championship. So if they want to start moving more guys in there and moving guys around, I'm all about it. I think we've got plenty of depth, and I am bullish on the offensive line. So whatever the opposite of the freak out is, that's where I'm at. That's my position on the O line.
Yeah, it's easy to go through a game to pick because I mean the Purdue game, it was the worst game for the offensive line. But ask yourself, why is that? Well, right before the game, they found out, oh, our right tackle's not playing. Okay, so they had to switch some things up there. A couple new players on offense as well, and what Ryan Day is doing this year with the plays, playing less games per play, slowing the game down a lot. It doesn't do any favors for the offensive line. One thing I learned last year, um, about the game of football is how much scheme affects offensive line, right? And things like running tempo and different things like that. The Buckeyes, when you choose to look at one game, like the worst game the offensive line played, when there were a bunch of backups playing, and obviously the coaching staff was treating it as a scrimmage with a lot of different players in trying different schemes, different run plays, different things. And we know that Ryan Day is holding back. We know it. It's a fact. So I'm not quite sure how anybody could dive into what the offensive line has done so far and say some of the things that I've heard, knowing those things. Yes, they can get better. Yes, certain players need to pick it up a little bit. But again, I just go back to last year with our freak out on the offensive line. We ended up doing just fine. And we know the Buckeyes are holding back a lot. Like when you look at Nevada, you said, I mean, four of these players on the offensive line, Philip Daniels is the only new one, and they won a national title last year. Okay. They had a bad game for Purdue. They had really good things. So the beginning of the Purdue game was pretty rough, but by the end of the game, the offensive line, they stopped missing those things. Like this is college football. It's what happened, but I don't freak out like that. It's hard to pinpoint, right, where this comes from. And when you look that we rushed for 170 yards and to choose this game to dive into and freak out about, and I'm not saying that there's not some players that need to be better. Some players didn't make mistakes and all those things, but you take a step back and look at the overall picture of this Ohio State offense right now with Julian Sayin, with the wide receivers that we have, and look how we're utilizing them. We're not going full bore with what this offensive identity is yet. We don't need to. There hasn't been a close game where Ryan Day had to go out there and say, all right, I need to call all the best plays we got. We need to get down the field. We need to run tempo. We got to score. We got to score. That hasn't happened. There's been a lot of grading these players, getting some backups in, trying new things, keeping players from playing a bunch and getting injured, holding players back when in fact they could have played. So I just think there's a lot of things going on right now at this point in time in the season that it's a stretch. What some people are saying right now, I just feel like it's a big time stretch with what they got going on.
Well, yeah, and your point about Ryan Day slowing the games down is so on. I mean, like that is a concerted effort by him to save on plays so that Ohio State is fresher come playoff time. That's a core belief of his. And that's why we're running, 60, 61, 62, 63 plays. And it's like when you do that, you're not going to put up the gaudy numbers. But despite that, our offense is really effective. Offensive efficiency, one of the highest in the country. And you can't do that without a great offensive line. So I just think, I think a lot of these Ohio State fans generally have to have something to be upset about. And I just think the offensive line is just, I mean, it was going to be Julian saying before the season, Julian was, he can't play quarterback. He threw a bad pass against Tennessee and that December night, and so he can't pass the ball. And now, I mean, he might be the best spinner of the ball that we've ever seen. So it's kind of ironic that that the stuff about him not being able to pass the ball was out, but that was out there. That was a real take that was out there for quite some time. But so yeah, recruiting kind of calming down. I think the offensive line's going to calm down, but I think this week against UCLA, it's going to be more of the same. I think it's going to be more experimentation. I mean, last week we saw, Ian Moore and Gabe Van Sickle out there, and those guys played real minutes. And when you change your offensive line around like that, and you're moving guys in and moving guys out, it's going to be a little herky jerky. But I've actually liked the running game schemes that they've introduced, and I actually think that we're progressing in a very positive direction. Towards the big part of our schedule, with the Michigan game and the Big Ten championship game and then the college football playoff. So I couldn't be happier with the way things are progressing. Just hope we stay healthy and take another step this weekend.
Yeah, I just keep pounding on the point of Ryan Day's overall plan for this season because also you brought it up too. Look how many new things they're trying with the run game. They're trying a lot. I mean, look, 15 14 personnel, all kind of crazy things on the field, extra linemen bring down. You know what else that does? Puts a lot of things on film for teams to have to prepare for. So again, I'm just not tripping about it. We got UCLA coming up. I am told, right, a helping technician put out a nugget with the people I talked to as well. I am told that Ryan Day does want to pick things up a little bit this game, might see a little bit more tempo and some different things on the offensive line as well with rotating players in and out. Ethan Anianwa looked really good in the Purdue game at guard. It's a new position for him. People are wondering, hey, we went in the portal, got this guy for left tackle. Where's he at? He's not here. Well, maybe he's going to start rotating in because he looked really good. Ryan Day talked about that as well in his press conference. But when we dive into this upcoming game, Ohio State, UCLA, right? We watch UCLA beat Penn State. They're 3-6 right now. The beginning of the year, they obviously looked pretty darn bad. And then they go up against Indiana. So this is a game where I'm sure Indiana beat them 56-6. Okay. So when you look at these teams as well, we have the number one total defense. UCLA's got the number 77 total defense in the nation. We have number 2 pass defense. They have number 27 run defense. We have the number 5 run defense in the nation. They have the number 124th run defense in the nation. They're 136th in the nation for sacks per game. So they are dead last at getting sacks. We are number 14 in the nation. To talk about pressure, I've also heard that as a complaint as well. I've brought that up myself as a complaint. We're ranked 14th in the nation on getting sacks. Scoring offense, we're 18th. They're 116. Total offense, we're 25th. They're 104th. Pass offense, we're 19 in the nation. They're 111. And this is the only thing that they got us beat on. Run offense, Nevada. We're ranked 69th. They're ranked 62nd in the nation. They are 104th for sacks allowed. We are 4th. So, Nevada, I mean, as much as we can, tell me your thoughts on this UCLA game. Is there an area that you're going not so much a concern, but an area that you're curious to see how the Buckeyes handle it offensively and defensively?
Well, first of all, I'm more way more bullish on Nico than a lot of people. I mean, I actually think
Mm-hmm.
that he can play the quarterback position, and that may be a minority view, but I actually I've seen him do some good things, and just hope he doesn't bring those good things to the game on Saturday night because he can do some things to hurt you. He's effective with his legs. He can run around. So I think it's, for me, I want to see the challenge of how they deal with him and his legs because I think a lot of that's going to be applicable to how they deal with underthrow when we play up in Ann Arbor. So I think that's one part of the game that I'm definitely going to be watching. Obviously, the stuff on the offensive line shuffle, the people the expansion of the running game concepts. I'm going to be watching for that as well. I mean, everything else, tempo. I know we can do it. It's just a question of whether he will do it. And this game, I think this game is going to be one of those name your score, Ryan. How far do you want to go? And I just don't think Ryan's going to want to put the pedal to the metal down because I just think he's been, it's been all about saving. He wants to save guys, he wants to save health, he wants to save, different looks and things. So I think this is going to be a decisive Ohio State victory on, on Saturday night. I'll make my score prediction tomorrow on the BuckeyeScoop.com site. But I'm not sure it'll be as decisive as some people think. That's kind of where I'm kind of coming down on this. The game will never be in doubt, but UCLA can do some interesting things to hurt you. And I'm just like I said, so I want to see the pass rush and I want to see the running game. Those are the two things I'm going to be keeping my eye on. Especially like you said, yeah, Ethan. Could they activate Ethan at right guard? Could he at least provide some platooning help in there? And Ian Moore at right tackle. Let me tell you what, he was really freaking good. Like really freaking good. Like Philip Daniels better take his Wheaties and eat his vitamins and get his sleep and do the thing and get ready to go because if he doesn't, Ian Moore's going to put a lock stop on that job and it's going to be tough for him to get back in the line. And that's not a bang on Phillip. That's just saying Ian Moore's really freaking good. So watching the offensive line shuffle will be another thing I keep a close eye on.
Yeah, Nevada. At the beginning of the week, when me and B Moses were on here, he brought up the UCLA game, and my first take was that right there that you said, Nevada. That man, I just don't see Ryan Day putting the pedal to the metal here. His prerogative all year has been averaging. I think we're up to 63 plays per game now because we ran over 70 in the Purdue game, but we know why that was. But then you hear it's a nighttime game. You see the visitor list, and I talked to somebody inside, that has some insight on Ryan Day and what this team is preparing to do. And they told me, hey, Ryan Day seems fired up, seems like he wants to come out, maybe with a little more tempo in this game. And then I switched my mindset. I was like, all right, these Buckeyes are going to come out firing. The score's got to be 45-3. And then it's just like, man, when you think about it, Ryan Day doesn't operate like that. He's not gonna. He said it already. He doesn't care about style points. Style points do not matter anymore in the 12-team playoff. What matters right now, these Buckeyes, the only thing that matters, Nevada, win the game and no injuries. So I think those are number one and number two goals for Ryan Day right now, which negates me thinking that the Buckeyes are going to come out and score 45 points. Can they? Absolutely. Do they need to? No. So I just don't quite know if that's going to happen yet. I'm going to stick to my score prediction because it's the one that I made. But I'm more along the lines with you. I think we see what the Buckeyes have been doing, slow pace of play, a lot of run games. We're going to get down on the goal line. Nate Roberts is going to come in, and it's going to take us 3 attempts to rush the ball in. But we will get in the end zone. Those are things that Ryan Day is doing to slow this game down and to match his goals. His goals are not the fans' goals, right? In the long term, we want to see these Buckeyes come out and just explode. Offensive explosion, bunch of sacks, all these things. Ryan Day, he wants to win and he doesn't want any injuries. That's what he wants. Am I wrong there, Nevada?
No, you're exactly right, and that's somewhat confounding. And despite that, we've been a cover machine. We've covered the spread like 13 of the last 14 games or some crazy number like that. The only winning cover was last week when we gave up that meaningless score at the end of the game to Purdue to give them the backdoor cover. So no, I think Ryan, you're exactly right. Ryan he just wants to get because really when you look at it, all we got to do is win. If we just win and we're in, win and we're fine. If we get to the Big Ten championship game, frankly, it doesn't even matter how we do in the Big Ten championship game. We'll either be the 1 or the 2 or 3 seed. So as much hype as that game will have with it being against Indiana and being in Indianapolis and 2 undefeateds and 1 versus 2, the reality is the game won't really matter that much. You're exactly right. The 12-team playoff in some way has made the games less interesting from that standpoint. It's kind of the reverse effect of having the thing on that the games at the top, because before, if you played a game like that, like when Ohio State played Michigan in 2006, 1 versus 2, that was an elimination game. Like you lost that game and you went out, you played the Citrus Bowl and your national championship hopes died. And now it's like you could lose, if heaven forbid we get the Big Ten championship game and lose to Indiana, we'll be the 2 seed still, or the 3 at the worst. And you know, that does have to change your mindset. So if you've got players that are, maybe slightly injured or somebody, you're gonna hold them out. You're gonna hold them out because it's nice to win and it's cool to win, and it'd be great to put on a big show this weekend and blow out UCLA, but at the end of the day, just win, advance, stay healthy. Let's move on to the next one.
You brought up a very interesting talking point, one that I've been intrigued with and I wanted to bring up for some time. I'm going to bring it up now, and that's this Big Ten title game. You're looking at the number 1 and number 2 team in the nation. Ryan's Day's goals, right? We would say that his number 1 goal is to win a national title. Okay. What's the point of the Big Ten game? If we see how he's operating now, he doesn't need to go out and run tempo. He doesn't need to go out and score a bunch of points. He doesn't need to get super aggressive on defense. So his philosophy is going to run into a bit of a conundrum in this Big Ten title game. And you brought it up. That was my question. Like, if Ryan Day's number 1 goal is to win a national title, and because that is his goal, he's operating like this, holding players back. Carnell Tate, just because he was a little tight in warmups. Phillip Daniels, the same way. Tywan Malone, the same way. Do you think he has a little more urgency in the Big Ten title game, or do you still think he sees his number 1 goal, win a national title? And because of that, you think he still come out and you see the slow pace of play? Because we know that, hey, right, if we want to go out, our game plan for Indiana is probably going to involve tempo and a lot of pressure on the quarterback. But the Big Ten title game is literally, what's the relevancy of it if your number 1 goal is to win a national title? What's the relevancy of it?
Well, that's it. Like I said, that's a great question. And you saw, I always believe when teams rematch after they played one time season, the team that lost the first time around has got an advantage, kind of like we did against Oregon last year, losing them during the regular season and beating them, in the playoff. So I'm not saying you would throw the game against Indiana, but certainly winning the game doesn't really, you know, I mean, look, it's nice and it's nice to say we're the Big Ten champs and this and that, but relative to the big prize, relative to the, winning the Big Ten championship is great. You win the national championship and the name streets after you, and kids get named after you, and you're in the pantheon of greats. No, nobody wears shirts around town for the Big Ten title in 1988 or something like. You know what I'm saying? So it's. I just think that it's going to change the way. Will Ryan hold anything back in that game? I don't know, but if you've got people that are on the edge, if you've got Parnell, if JJ Smith has a tight hamstring before the Big Ten championship game, I'm sitting him. There's no way I'm playing him in a Big Ten championship game if it means I'm risk losing him for the college football playoff. No way. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It does present some interesting challenge. They talk about beating Michigan, winning the Big Ten, winning the national championship, being the three goals for the season. I understand all that, but it's really one goal now. It's really with
That's
the
what I
12 team
mean.
playoff.
Yep.
It's really one goal. It's win the national championship, and if you don't win the national championship, everybody's sad. And if you win the national championship, it doesn't matter whether you won the big or whether you beat Michigan because you won the national championship. So I don't know. I go back and forth on that one, but I think it's going to be really. I think. Look, what I hope it means is that Ryan can call that game loose as a goose, knowing that it doesn't really matter, and if we lose, it's not the end of days. So let's just let her rip, cater chip, and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, when's the last reunion you've seen for Big Ten championship teams
It
at
doesn't
Ohio
happen.
State?
Does not
It
happen.
doesn't happen, man. And I see
Yeah.
people talking about Ryan Day hasn't won it in 5 years. He's going to go out all out. He's going to do those things. I mean, I don't really know, but I feel like that's more of like bragging slash style points. And Ryan Day has said he could care less about that. If I feel like the only plus that comes from winning the Big Ten title game is bragging rights, is to say you won the Big Ten title game. But let me ask you, Nevada, how much bragging did Oregon do last year? How did that work for them, winning the Big Ten title game and then absolutely getting thrashed? And I'll also throw this in there, Nevada. You got to pick. You got to pick these choices here, Nevada. As of right now, right? If we were playing the national title and the rankings stayed the way they are, and we had the Big Ten title game coming up and all that, would you rather play one of Alabama and Notre Dame, the winner of that game, or would you rather play the winner of Texas A&M, Texas?
I'd rather play Texas A&M, Texas personally, but
Okay,
um,
so as of right now, the loser of the Big Ten title game would play the winner of Texas A&M. The winner, as of right now, gets to play Notre Dame or Alabama.
yeah. But see, the whole thing. The thing is that the seedings. It's not like in a normal tournament seeding situation. There, Devin. Like
They
if you're the
reseed.
one seed, well, you're one. Well, first of all, if you're the one seed, you're getting an advantage over the three seed. You're getting an easier path to the final. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
as it was shown last year, the 12 team playoff, it's completely random. You have no idea. The best seed last year, frankly, was Penn State seed. I think they were the fifth seed, or I can't even remember what seed they were, but whatever seed they got, that was the best seed because it was the easiest path to the championship. And so for Ohio State, you know, it doesn't matter. One, two, three, four. The only advantage of one, two, three, or four is you don't have to play a first game. I get that. I think that's a significant advantage. Um, but you know, everything else, man, it's playing that Indiana game. I mean, it wouldn't, like last year we lost to Michigan and we didn't have to play in the Big Ten championship game against Oregon. You know what? That was a blessing in disguise. That was a
yeah.
blessing in disguise. And so, would it be a blessing? I'm not saying we want to lose to Michigan and avoid the Big Ten championship game, but the way that the playoff is set up, man, it's just different now. And I think Ohio State, the good news is Ohio State's going to be favored in every game against every opponent that they play because they're better than everybody.
Lost you, Nevada. I cannot hear you. Nevada does this once a show. When he wants to take a break, he hits mute on his phone, goes, eats a couple snacks. But listen, guys, this isn't an argument I'm trying to bring up, just a talking point. Every fan and every person is going to have their different opinion. The only one that matters is Ryan Day's. What I would love to know his true feelings on the Big Ten title game. Yes, he wants to win it, but if your number one goal is win a national title, okay, and to win the Big Ten title game, you have to potentially do something that might hurt your chances at winning the national title. Is Ryan Day going to do that? I think the answer is no. I don't think he's going to risk something that could possibly hinder his chances to win the national title game for the Big Ten title game. That's all I'm saying with that. Nevada lost you, but you are back.
Yeah, no, I
You're
was just
back.
saying, when you take out weather and you take out home field advantage, I mean Ohio State's going to be a big favorite against just about everybody. And I think if Ohio State um comes out, attacks, goes with tempo, plays with our defense. I mean, I'll take our chances against anybody. I mean, with Julian Sayin at court, Julian Sayin is going to be that guy that teams trade 3 first-round picks to go up to number one to take,
Oh yeah.
because he's going to be a generational type of quarterback at the next level. He's just going to be. And so the fact that we have him for at least one more with JJ, which is, we can jump around on topics, but when people talk about like Brian Hartline leaving, do you really believe Brian Hartline will leave being offensive coordinator when Julian Sainz got one more year and JJ Smith's got one more year? It would seem an odd time to be leaving. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, I'll take our chances with Julian. I love watching Julian throw the football. Every time Julian goes back to pass, I just get a smile on my face, and I just, can't wait. So if you're telling me he's going to let him, come out this week throwing against UCLA or whatever it's going to be, nothing would make me happier than to see Julian throwing the ball all over the lot, because that guy should win the Heisman. That guy is going to be the first pick in the draft. That guy is going to leave college football as one of the best, if not the best, college quarterbacks to ever play the game. And we have him, and he's our quarterback, and he's the number one reason I think we're going to win the national championship this year.
Yeah, the whole offensive line talk, people are now bringing up that Julian Sayin is making this offensive line statistically look way better than what it really is. And yes, very good his pocket presence is so, I don't know that I'd call it underrated now, but I mean, the feel that he has, I mean, I can't even, I should have pulled up some clips for you guys. I watched the All 22 film, and so, and some of the feel that he has and his footwork inside that pocket, it does help the offensive line out a lot. But I can literally count on my hands the amount of times that Julian Sayin has had to escape pressure. It's very minimal, unless I'm wrong there. And to jump back a little bit on that topic, kind of got back into it a little bit, but I wanted to ask you this, Nevada, when we were talking about the offensive line. We're here at Scoop not near as concerned as everybody else, but we do know there are things that need to get better. Nevada, is our current starting lineup, to you, is that the best 5 offensive linemen on the field? And if not, what would if you were the coach, what would your offensive lineup be for the offensive line?
No, they are the best five. They are the best five for right now. I think the only possible move that I looked at would be Ian Moore at right tackle. I think Ian's that good, and so if Phillips not right, I'd go to Ian. But can you sub for people for Tegra situationally at right guard? Sure, I have no problem with that. Whether it be Josh Padilla, whether it be Ethan, whatever you want to do with that. But I think those are definitely our best starting five. And when people evaluate an offensive line, you got to look at pass protection on top of just the run game. And pass protection for a team like Ohio State, that's a pass first team. Let me ask you a question, Devin. What's more important? If you have to pick one, is it more important with this 2025 Ohio State team to be an elite pass protecting team or an elite rushing? Which one is more important?
Julian Sayin.
Julian saying. It's really simple. So it's like, I mean, we got Julian saying it, and we're one of the best teams in the country about keeping him upright. And look,
Ranked
Julian's
fourth.
got great. He's got great pocket presence, but it's not like he's Lamar Jackson back there and he's running around. Just
Yeah.
he's a smart guy, but we do a good job of keeping a very clean pocket for him. And are there breakdowns? Sure, but that happens to every team. But we have almost fewer breakdowns than any team in the country when it comes to pass protection. So for me, the most important thing we do at an exquisite level for this offensive line, and that's why I'm having a hard time getting down on it. I'm not, just sounding the alarm, saying we need to make massive changes. Do we need to move this guy? Do we need to move that guy? I'm like, man, I don't think so. Because frankly, if we passed every play, I think we'd win every game by 4 touchdowns. I really do. I think running the ball right now for us is kind of a waste. And I know that's sacrilegious for Ohio State fans to hear and this and that, but if I would just put the ball in Julian's hand and let Julian just throw the ball. I mean, when you've got Carnell and JJ and Milan and Brandon Ennis and Max Clare and running backs that can catch, I mean, just throw the ball and let the chips fall there. Maybe that's a minority position, but that's what I feel.
Yeah. So LSU, 2019 LSU team, which several people call the best football team ever to step on field. I wonder where they were ranked in rushing in that year. I wonder
Yeah,
they
probably
had to have been ranked.
right where Ohio State is, right? 60 something. Is that where they are?
Yeah, yeah, yes, they were ranked in the 60s, and also they had to have an absolutely elite defense, right, Nevada? No, their
No.
defense was ranked bad as well. We are ranked number one. Interesting stats for you. We do have the 69th ranked running offense, but we are fourth in the nation for sacks allowed. Okay. And what's funny about that is some people want to talk about Julian Sand's lack of mobility, talk about, preseason and a little bit, in the beginning, hey, Julian Sand doesn't have the legs to run. But now all of a sudden, when it's convenient for Julian Sand to have good legs and stuff, they utilize that and say, hey, man, Julian Sand is making our offensive line look really good. Well, we are fourth in sacks allowed. And also, we're fourth in tackles for loss allowed. And yes, I know that our freshmen, our running backs, do really good at that as well. But it just goes to show the point that we're trying to get to you. Man, the offensive line is not as bad as what we've been hearing this past week. It just isn't. There's no way around it. It just isn't. Yeah, there are things that need to be better, but it's just not. But one thing that we do not need a lot of work on, Nevada, last thing I want to bring up here is the defense, man. Purdue game. We watched Matt Patricia run a 2-4 front with Caden Curry as the nose guard, Riley Pettijohn covering a guard, Sonny Styles covering a guard, and then Arvell Reese and Kenyatta Jackson on the edge. Matt Patricia is still playing. He's still working at what fronts to use, how to utilize some of these players. And you might ask yourself, how did Riley Pettijohn get the opportunity that he got? How did that happen? Well, if you remember, where was the first place we heard Riley Pettijohn's name? Special teams. That was the first place. How many special teams player of the games has he got this year? I think it's 2. Okay, so Ryan Day is putting a huge emphasis on that, and he's using Riley Pettijohn as that example because he did so good on special teams, and now you see him in some of these special packages that Matty P is putting together. This secondary's killing it as well. Aaron Scott, another player, special teams, he's been seeing a lot more playing time now. So Matty P with this defense, he's still moving things around. He's still playing with the elite talent that this defense has, Nevada. The players on the field are the one getting it done. But when Matt Patricia's behind the wheel driving this thing, the whole Nico escape in the pocket, man, we handled Ohio's running quarterback. We handled Washington, their running quarterback. And I'm not too concerned about that either. So thoughts on what Matt Patricia is doing and some of the new things he's still throwing out there. Again, that's a lot of stuff for teams to look at on film and try to break down and try to be prepared for. That's a lot of stuff, Nevada.
Well, what it is, it's an NFL defense because that's what
Yep.
NFL defenses run. And that's why all offseason, when people were fretting about the defensive line and defensive, remember the conversations about the lack of defensive ends? And I'm like, he's going to activate the linebackers like stand-up defensive ends. And what are we seeing
Mm-hmm.
now? Now we're seeing that. So it's like that's what you have when you get a NFL's pro style type of defensive approach. You can do that. So it changes the types of guys you're looking for. It takes the positions that guys are playing, how you're deploying them. And yeah, when guys excel on special teams, they want to reward them because they want other guys to play their butts off on special teams as well. And Petty John, he's been the best special teams performer we've had all year, and they've been rewarding with minutes when it matters on the defensive side. And even though he struggles, and he has struggled a little bit out there, I love to see it because that's the only way you get better is with playing time.
Yeah. Final thing about it, we're going to do a quick because I can't do a show tomorrow. I will be here for the post game. I'll be traveling. I'm taking my stuff with me, so I will do a post game. But going to do some quick. I got 5 bold predictions that I'm going to say real quick. I'll say my 5, Nevada. I know you haven't done yours yet on the Scoop website, so if you got a couple fun ones you want to throw out there, go ahead. Chat. This is your time as well. Put them in the chat. Give us your bold predictions. My first one, man, Devin Sanchez, pick 6. He's got to get one. His mom was in the chat last night talking about it as well. So shout out D, shout out Daniel. I'm saying it again. Devin Sanchez with the pick 6. Arvell Reese, 3 sacks, man. Sonny Styles and Riley Pettyjohn were used as in that rushing attack mode in the Purdue game. Didn't have that much success. I think Arvell Reese going to get put back in that role and have some success. And this one, Nevada, you're going to love this. I know that you've been screaming for this. You really want it. It's one of your favorite plays. Nate Roberts is getting a touchdown this game. And that is going to
Oh,
make Ohio State
oh, oh no.
that is
Oh
going to
no.
make Ohio State have 5 tight ends that have scored a touchdown this year. Quincy Porter is also scoring a touchdown this game. Quincy Porter is an absolute dog. And finally, Julian Sayin is going to get his first 400 yards passing game of the season. He
Oh.
threw for 393 in Wisconsin. But hey, he getting a UCLA game. Nevada, do you have any fun ones? Or I know that I probably took yours, the Nate Roberts one. I took that. I know that's one of
Well,
yours, so you can't
I
use
had
that one. But
no, I had Nate Roberts with his first fumble. That's what I had. Nate Roberts with his first fumble. Yeah, I can't tell you how much I hate that formation and hate that football in a phone booth, and I hate every bit of it. I loved it when they spread it out. They put JJ out there, took the overhang defender, like another guy on him out there, and then you can equate numbers and run the quarterback. I love that with the Lincoln Keno's package, but no, I'm not a fan of the 13 and 14, 3 tight ends, 4 tight ends, 5 tight ends stuff that we put out there. Uh, that yeah, but I'll have my
yeah,
bold prediction tomorrow. I'll have my score prediction, and but I'll give you a tease though right now. I got Ohio State not covering the 31.5 point spread. I think that's a big, big, big number. So I have them not covering the 31, and I'll be gladly happy if I'm wrong on that.
yeah. I want to make something real clear, real quick. And that's not a shot at Nate Roberts for me whatsoever. The dude has an extremely bright future here at the Buckeyes. It's just they have worn that formation out so much with me that I'm just kind of over it. And when you take the best player in the country off the field to run that formation, I just don't like it. So it's more about the formation. That's not a shot at Nate Roberts. Shout out his mom. I know she watches sometimes. So not a shot at
No,
all.
no.
Very bright
Again,
future here.
same thing. We're
I
having
know. Yeah,
fun
yeah,
with
yeah.
that one. I hate running the fullback and taking JJ off the field. I just think we make it so hard. If we're gonna run Nate, let's run single back. Let's put 4 wide and have Nate as the single back and let him run that. I will applaud that all day long. But when you put 12 guys or 11 guys in the inside of a 4 yard area. It's just we make running the ball so freaking hard. And I just don't know why it has to be that hard. So yes, shout out to Nate. We love him. We believe in everything he's good. I think the situation, the scheme that they put him in is terrible. That's it. Not on the kid.
Yeah. And if you want Julian Sayin to win the Heisman, I, here's what has to happen. He needs to throw a couple interceptions in the second half so Ohio State can get down. Okay.
Okay.
He needs to play
For now.
bad football so he can start losing. And then he needs to start playing better in the fourth quarter. He needs to throw it up in the air for J.J. Smith to make a spectacular catch. It's the only shot Julian Sayin has at winning the Heisman. So he's got to create a Heisman moment by playing horrible. And actually, if Ohio State wants to get any respect, they need to make the games closer, right? They can't keep coming out and dominating teams because it just makes them look like they're not playing anybody. Nevada, any
No, but
final thoughts?
no, but something you bring up a really good point though. It kind of goes back to our earlier thing about like what's on the line in the Big Ten championship game. And one of the things that's on the line in the Big Ten championship game
Oh, yeah.
is Spain versus Mendoza. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a really good astute point on your part. And I think that could be the story. That could be the story of the game. That could be the motivation. All just the more reason why Ryan should come into that game and just let him throw every play and try to throw for 600 yards against Indiana's defense. And whether we win or whether we lose or whatever it is, let's get that guy the Heisman because he sure deserves it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for making my point look way more astute than what it was meant to be. But that's what I was thinking. So I appreciate you for telling me that. But anyway, chat, man, appreciate you guys. You guys killed it tonight. See you guys in there having a great time, man. Grab a family member. create him a YouTube account, make him subscribe to Buckeye Scoop. We need to get to this 37K, man. We're going to get Funky's going to turn his camera off. Probably not going to see his face, but he's going to turn his camera off. All right. That's he hasn't agreed to that. I've just put that out there for him. So we'll try to make that happen. But hit the like button if you haven't already. Dang, Nevada, I did bad at this. Sonny, thank you so much for the $4.99. If Day is just playing chess by playing slow, how hard is it to turn up the tempo when we need to? Will the players be easy to adjust? D Sonny, that is my one and only concern with this. But look at Julian saying there has been bits and pieces of tempo. The Wisconsin game, they've been giving Julian saying more and more leash throughout the time. We know the receivers can do it. We know the offensive line can do it. They did it last year. The only question is, can Julian Sayin handle it? And I think the question is answered. It's no longer a concern for me whatsoever. Nevada, what say you?
No, it's a great question, and that's why you have to practice it. And I think that's why you got to show it. But yeah, they practice it all the time during the week. They've showed it in limited times during the game, and it's been frankly their most effective series has been when they've gone fast. But I agree with you. I'd like to see them do it a little bit more, give them a little bit more tape for people to. I think they're probably holding that back. They don't want people to know how committed they are to that. But I agree with you. I think I'd like to see them run it more so they get super proficient on it because I think that's the key to victory.
Yeah, D Sonny, thank you so much for the 4.99. If we were in a game where a QB has too much time and we can't get a pass rush, could Arvell just move down the DE defensive end, or what would you do? Nevada, I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, well, that frankly, that's what they are doing. And
Mm-hmm.
if you look at we've had very limited success generating a pass rush with traditional four guys up there. When we run the traditional two defensive tackles, two defensive ends, we're not bringing a lot of pressure. Most all of our pressure has been generated when Arvell's been out there, either in a five-man rush or in a four-man rush. So yeah, Arvell, he's Micah Parsons. I mean, he's Micah Parsons out there. I would use him the same way that the Packers and the Cowboys have used Micah Parsons in the pros, move him all over the field, bring him from the inside, bring him from the outside, bring him from the edge because he is just particularly adept at getting to the quarterback, and that's what you need. So yeah, I would use him freely and anytime you needed him.
Yeah, just think about the players we have on this team. Arvell's just one of many that's not a defensive end that you could sick on the quarterback. I mean, Jermaine Matthews had that sack fumble. Caleb Downs has been utilized at blitzes more in that 2-4 front. Matty P used that opportunity to give Caleb Downs the opportunity to blitz. He's a beast at it. And then Sonny Styles is also a first-round linebacker whose arm length is a big-time problem for offensive linemen. So I believe we have the players to create pressure if need be. And that's the answer to taking down Indiana, if you ask me.
Well,
So I
well,
expect to see that then.
and let me throw out one other name that come playoff time could be activated, CJ Hicks, because that's the it
Oh,
doesn't count against the
yeah.
red shirt. It doesn't count against the red shirt when you go into the playoffs. So CJ, you might see a reemergence of CJ Hicks in that rush role right there. So that's another guy to keep an eye on.
Okay, that got me a little excited. I keep forgetting about that, but yeah, it won't go against his red shirt he's taking. Lisa, thank you so much for the $1.99. Sorry about I didn't almost miss the super chats. By the way, I don't do that, but we're doing them now. Praying for Sayin health and safety. How's Tate? For sure. Yeah, we said it earlier. If you had to pick run game, blocking, or pass game, it's the pass game. We want to be the best at blocking. Protect Julian saying, how's Tate? Ryan Day said Tate's good to go. He could have been good to go in the Purdue game. Tate as well. Tate is one tough dude. I'll tell you that. Nevada, anything to add? Nevada gone. He gone again. Nevada, can't hear you. Don't know if we lost you or you muted. I think we lost you, Nevada. Right at the end of the show when we're wrapping up, we'll see if he comes back in to say goodbye. I'll give him a couple minutes. I'm guessing he might not because it's the end of the show. Oh, here he is. He did it. Yes, Nevada. I thought maybe you were just going to leave me.
No way, no way, dude. I'm waiting for you on the women's tees. I'm on the women's tees waiting for you out here, ready to tee off there. I've got my golf skirt on there, ready for Devin to get up there and be like,
Uh,
I hit the ball so far, it goes right to the green. I'm like, well, you play the men's tees, it wouldn't go up that far there, Devin.
Oh boy. All right, all right, all right. I'll let you have that one. I'll let you have that one. I'm gonna do some thinking on that. I'll get something prepared for next Thursday. Just be prepared, Nevada. You started this.
I
I'm
love
just
it.
messing.
I
Yeah.
love it, my brother.
Any final thoughts on the show or Lisa's super chat? Wondering how Tate is and protecting saying.
Got to protect Sand and Tate. Nothing to worry about on Tate. Nothing to worry about on Franklin and Aragon. Our health right now is pristine for the Buckeyes. So looking really good heading into this weekend, into the weeks to come.
Yep. On that note, guys, we appreciate the heck out of you. Don't forget, hit that like button on your way out. Subscribe as well. Head over to the Scoop message board. If you're not over there, get over there, man. A lot of things popping off. Go find out who the Buckeyes are gonna, who they are, who's gonna commit this weekend. Go check out Funky's predictions over on the Scoop message board. He's got a pretty good rate going right now. But on that note, love you guys. Go Buckeyes. OH.
I